Our fourth foundation is self-assessment. So self-assessment enables the learner to set their own goals and essentially be responsible for their own learning. I think this is one of the most difficult ones to implement because, especially for my students, they find it very difficult to be self-reflective. And especially take negative feedback in terms of like how they can improve. A lot of my students are like, nope, everything I did is perfect. Why did you give me this grade? And so for me, this has been the one that's taken the most amount of time to really implement and get students to really be empowered by it. Having a look at the AfL toolkit, one thing they recommend is using a reflective journal. And within that reflective journal, we can ask many different types of questions. So we can ask questions of what made sense and what didn't. How does this particular subject fit into what I already know? And what could I have done well and what can I improve? That's one way we can do that. One application that's useful for that is called Seesaw, where it's like an online portfolio. So students can collect elements of their learning throughout a period. And then you can give them time at the end of it to reflect on how they've changed, how they've grown, what they can do now that they couldn't do before, and ask questions like that. One other way that I really like to help students self-assess, and I think it's quite a nice introduction to self-assessment, also it gives you a bit of protection when you're looking at grading overall, is using checklists. So I think checklists are really helpful for students. I prefer to write them in the first person, so the student's asking themselves if they're doing it. This is one example from a grade 10 project. So questions like, do I have a clear statement of task stated explicitly, and does it describe what I'm researching and what questions I'm trying to answer? So I think people can comment on my checklist and probably I can improve them a bit more and make them a bit more succinct. But I think using that language and helping students and giving them time to actually be like, right, I've produced a checklist. Can you honestly tell me that you've done absolutely everything I've asked for throughout this project? And normally, hopefully bit by bit, they'll get used to being like, no, I think I missed this aspect out. I'm going to go back and change it now before I hand it in again.